came out today. The Bears, who knows? I know Schefter's got to get his clicks and write his articles. Bears trading the number 1 pick. I assume they will. I assume they'll get multiple picks, get some linemen, some defensive players, and just go with Justin Fields. That's what makes sense to me. What is your thought?
Well, they should. I mean, you have Ryan Poles, who's the GM there. He's going into his second season, I believe, as the general manager. And Eberflus is the head coach, defensive-minded head coach. But look, they've invested a lot in Justin Fields and what they inherited. And they have around $99 to $100 million in cap space. They have a chance to spend. They have a chance to invest in their young quarterback. And I think now's the time to do that while also trading down. It doesn't have to be late in the first round. They can trade down, still remain in the top 10 and still get a high draft pick that's going to really enhance their offense, build around Justin Fields while, selling the number 1 pick to a team that's, unlike last year, I think there's going to be a team that's going to really climb the ladder to try to jump Houston for the number 1 overall selection. Whether that's Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, who knows? With the Combine starting this week, Dan, I think the talk is going to be about Richardson and Levis and where they sit, because I don't think they're going to be nitpicked the same way Young and Stroud will with the measurements and the height, weight, speed, all that. I think we see a lot of hype around Will Levis this week. I'm not buying it. It will circle back around to Bryce Young. And, yeah, I mean, I think it's a foregone conclusion that you can make that Chicago is willing to deal out a number 1 because they have the young quarterback on a rookie deal, and you have a chance to enhance your roster around him and not pay your quarterback all that much and not have to restart the clock on the rookie. I don't get the sense that there's any one quarterback that this isn't the Josh Rosen, Kyler Murray draft, where after a year you're on to Kyler Murray because you have a new head coach. I don't think that's it. I think Chicago's going to get a great offer for number 1.
Here's would be my question. My question would be, is Jalen Carter or Will Anderson, are they good enough to be game changers? Are they good enough to be, Aaron Donald or the Bosa's? Because if they are, that would be the only way I wouldn't trade the number 1 pick. That's it. That's the only way.
Unless you trade with Indy, who's at 4, and you can get one of those 2 guys at 4.
Yeah.
That. Yeah. That's the other thing. If Indy's climbing up to get the quarterback, Houston's going quarterback, and then you're guaranteed one of those 2 guys with the 4th overall pick. I mean, that's the game within the game. And it's a gamble. It's a risk. So what's the drop-off after Jalen Carter and Will Anderson for the top defensive player from there? And you have to be willing to go that direction if you're going defense or if you're going the top wide receiver or top O-lineman, whatever it might be. I think, to me, the top defensive players can be there around the 4th or 5th pick, Dan, unlike past years where the value's been higher at pass rush than it has been at quarterback. I think that we see a big run on QB.
No, I agree with that. I mean, I think that, if Indy, and if I were Indy, there is nobody, and this may sound stupid to people, but both ways it may sound stupid because Shaq Leonard has been hurt, and before he got hurt, he professed that he wasn't sure that he still loved the game. This year, there was a massive slide in Quentin Nelson's play. And those are the 2. Maybe I wouldn't trade Jonathan Taylor. I don't know. But there isn't anybody on the Colts that I wouldn't package with that 4th pick. There just isn't. So I think the Colts will do the best they can do to get that number 1 pick. But who would you take? Like, just based on what you know and you see, who would you take as the number 1 pick if you were the Colts at quarterback?
I would go Bryce Young. Number 1. I realize that the height is an issue, but man, watching him step up and play week after week across not just the SEC, but in big moments, big games, college football playoff, wherever it might be, there's more consistency there than the other QBs. C.J. Stroud, while he was fantastic in the college football playoff, I can't take anything away from him there. But there were games last year where I didn't see that same type of play. still a great player. And then Will Levis was average in what should have been a phenomenal season for him in year number 2 in that offense. And a chance, even when you have Rodriguez who goes down with injury, their best player on offense at running back. Well, if Will Levis is that good, if he's number 1 overall, he should be elevating the play of the guys around him. I didn't see that. I saw playmakers around Will Levis, not this past year, but the year prior, stepping up and making big plays. And I think Levis is he's a first-round guy. He's not number 1 overall. And I think Bryce Young is. I like what I've seen from Young compared to the others. And look, I mean, the leadership qualities and all that, they're going to figure all that out on which guys are the best. I just look at what I've seen in college football, and to me, and the direction that the league is going anyway, to me, it's Bryce Young, and then there's everyone else below him.
You know, I swear to God this is going to happen. I swear to God Will Levis is going to be like the All-American boy. He's going to throw the ball 80 yards. He's going to answer every question right. He's going to blah, blah, and he's going to move up. I swear to God, Jonathan, I can see it coming. I can see Mitchell Trubisky in my rearview mirror, and in front of me is Will Levis.
Levis, though, he's got 2 – so I don't disagree with what everyone says about all the measurements, the traits. He looks the part. But I did not see that number 1 quality. But that's what we're debating here. He can be a top 5 or a top 10 pick. I didn't see the number 1 surefire quality that we have seen from guys in college like Andrew Luck or Trevor Lawrence, right? Those guys. To me, Bryce Young is in that category this past season after winning the Heisman and then what he did this past year. Levis has the chance to develop into that, and I think he's ahead of where Richardson is from Florida. But if you're going to draft traits and develop, to me, I don't do that at number 1. Number 1 pick's got to be ready to go. And I think, especially in today's league where coaches have about 3 years to prove it, or GTFO, you need your guy to jump in there and be ready. And I think Young is far ahead of where Levis is currently for that type of role, whether that's Indianapolis, Houston, Chicago, wherever it may be at number 1. It needs to be Bryce Young and the rest. Levis he's intriguing if you get him, I think, paired with a veteran and you let them battle out in camp. Like the top 10, top 15 pick. And I think he goes top 5, top 6. And I think Carolina at worst is where he ends up, where they currently select, and they could move up too. So he's not a bad player. He's very, very good. He's just not number 1.
Is Richardson? I can see the Colts. The Colts like to outsmart everybody. You saw him more than me. I saw him first game of the year. He was great. Like, he was tremendous. I think they beat Utah. It was like, wow. And then I couldn't wait to watch him the next week, and he wasn't the same guy. And I don't know if he was the same guy all year, but let me ask you, how good is he?
He's a freak athlete. I mean, he's when you see him, I think he's going to check a lot of boxes. He's very inconsistent for me. Throwing the football, he misses it. There were several games this past year where he's missing wide open guys. Now, he'll make some big throws too, but there's just that little piece missing that separates that top tier to the next group, and he's in that next group of first-round talent. Where I think he should have stayed in one more year, especially in the days of NIL and everything going on. I get why you want to go pro if you're a first-round pick, though, and he is. He's going. The combine is going to be his week. I mean, he's going to crush it this week in Indianapolis, Dan. But I didn't see him take over the SEC the way he took over that game against Utah, and that's the issue. I look at the totality of everything instead of glimpses of highlights that SportsCenter will feed us this week, or NFL Network for that matter. And I don't think he's in the same class as Young or Stroud.
Hey, thanks for watching Don't At Me with me, Dan Dakich. Make sure to like, subscribe, or click the notification bell For more of my beautiful face, check out my full show to my right or watch this other video. See ya.